Hello and welcome to sessions on Amadeus with Travelocademy English. Now, as you know, we have another channel, and that is basically in Hindi language. And we got a lot of requests from a lot of people in the last few months that they want sessions of Amadeus in English. Hence, we decided that we're going to start this channel, and we hope this is going to help you in some way. If you are in India or if you are outside in the world, it will help you in understanding Amadeus from basic to advanced. So this is the first video that we are making, and let's start. So my name is Gaurav Kira, and today we will be we'll start with encoding and decoding. So that's the basic thing that we have in Amadeus. So let's start. So first of all, what is encoding and what is decoding? It is decoding. Encoding basically means that you want to put something into code. What happens is that in travel world, every city is encoded in a particular code. For example, let's take London. London is a city in UK. It is the capital of UK. Now London, if we put any command in Amadeus, it is not going to accept it. So to enter London with a command, you need to have a code of London. So what is the code of London? It is LON. So how do we find this code is something we need to check today. Something very important, the thing which is open right in front of you is Amadeus. Now Amadeus is something which is a GDS. Now what is a GDS? A GDS is a global distribution system. Global distribution system. So what happened is initially when the travel industry started, there were airlines which had airlines reservation system. So it was ARS. Now it was very limited. So in ARS you had limited access to, like for example, if there is an airline British Airways had access to only its inventory. British Airways could not see any other airlines, and that is why there was a lot of problem if customer wants to have a connecting flight. It was very difficult to have that because you cannot check the timings, you cannot pick up the flight, and a lot of problems. So what happened was, from ARS we moved to CRS. CRS was a computerized reservation system. In computerized reservation system, it was like now we can see airline. For example, Air India can see British Airways. British Airways can see Lufthansa. So basically now you can see all the inventory, all the flights and seats in one software. Then came GDS. GDS was basically almost the same thing at CRS, but the only difference is that in GDS we can book hotels. Also, we can book cruise. We can book many other things. So basically it is not limited to air travel, it is beyond it. You can do a lot of other bookings. So now this is Amadeus. So there are different types of GDSs. One is an Amadeus, then you have Sabre, then we have Gal, which is Galileo, then we have Wolfsman, and then we have Apollo. I think possibly in some time Galileo and Wolfspan and Apollo are going to merge into Galileo only. So, or maybe Galileo and Wolfspan will merge into Galileo. So we'll have Amadeus, Sabre, and Galileo. Amadeus is basically, it is used a lot around the world. So let's start with how to encode and decode in Amadeus. So first thing that we do is there's this command which is DAN. Now when you enter DAN, it basically means that you want to encode anything. So for example, let's say we have a city, let's say Brisbane. Now Brisbane is a city in Australia, so we want to know what is the code. So we do BRI, so Brisbane. Now let's see, do you see this? This is the code for Brisbane, BNE. Now what is important here is to understand that all the city codes of the world are 3-letter code. All these codes are 3-letter code. When I say 3-letter code, I mean if let's say you have Washington. So Washington 3-letter code is WAS. So all these would have 3-letter codes. Now there is a city code and there is an airport code. There is a difference between a city and an airport code. For example, let's say Delhi. Delhi has only one airport. So the city code of Delhi is DEL and the airport of Delhi is also DEL. Because when you have only one airport, when you have only one airport in that city, the airport code and the city code is basically the same. But when you have, let's say for example, Washington has a lot of airports, but majorly it has Washington Dulles and Washington Ronald Reagan. What happens is the city code is different from the airport codes. So for Washington Dulles, the code is IAD. For Ronald Reagan, the code is DCA. So now, if you look at this over here, Brisbane must have one airport, I guess. That is why you see BNE is the code of the city. This A belongs to airport. This C over here belongs to city. BNE is the airport, or this is airport or the city code, and Brisbane again is the name of the city. Then you see this this thing. This is basically a port. Seaport. XQN is the code of this port. Now this is ferry port, and if you go down, this is another city. So basically, what happens is, if you put any name over here, for example, let's put DAN, and let's name, let's say Mexico City. So when we enter Mexico City, you will see it says it is MEX, and there is no other airport code, which means that there must be only one airport in Mexico City. And if we do DAN London, you will see there are a lot of things that are over here. So what is important first of all is that to get a code to encode a city, you will do DAN and then you will enter the name of the city. Now what happens is, the first thing you see over here is London, and then you see over here on the right hand side it says CA. CA is basically Canada, and ON is Ontario. Ontario is the province, right? So it is just like a state. So if you see YXU is the code of London, but this is not the London that we are looking for, right? Because there is a London in Canada, but generally people travel to London, which is in UK. Now if you see over here, this is CAON, that means Canada, Ontario, and the airport code is YXU, and this is R. R means railway. So this is the railway station, which is XDQ. This is a railway station, and this resembles how far it is. So it is 6 miles away, and it is also in Canada. Now this is not what we are looking for. What we are looking for is the other London, which is this LON. LON is a city code of London. Like I said, if you have more than one airport in a city, then the city code is different and the airport codes are different. So over here you have LON. LON is London. Then you move down, then you have the first airport, which is this PQH. But this is not something which is very important. This is not something which is very busy airport. There are 5 airports which are very busy in London. Heathrow being the most, I would say this is the busiest one. Then you have Gatwick City. This is London City, which is LCY. Gatwick is LGW. Heathrow is LHR. Luton, this is London Luton, which is LTN. And Southend is SEN. And London Stansted. So there are 6 airports which are very, very, I would say these are very common airports. A lot of people travel to these airports. So over here, if you see, the city code is LON, but the airport codes are different. And then if you move down, you look at other things. So you have, these are railway stations and so on, so on, so on. So this is how we encode a city. How you decode a city is something which is again very simple. Now, if you have a city code, for example, let's say you come across a code which is BSB. Now you like, I want to know what is the name of the city which resembles this code. So what we do over here is we enter this command, instead of DAN, we will enter DAC. Now, when you enter DAC, what happens is that you can enter a code after this, DAC BSB. Now you will see it says it is Brasilia. Brasilia is the capital of Brazil. So if you see this, this is BR, which resembles Brazil, and this is the airport code. So basically, it must have only, I think, one airport. That is why it says BSB Brasilia, and there is no other airport code. So this is how you can, check. You can encode or decode a city. For example, let's take another code. For instance, let's say we have JKT. JKT is a name of a city. Now we want to know which city name is it. This is a code that we have. So we do DAC and we do enter. So it says it is Jakarta. Jakarta is in Indonesia, and if you see over here, it is and then it has this airport also, and this airport, because it has more than one airport, and that is why you have a city code which is JKT and two different airport codes, right? Apart from this, if you want to encode or decode a country, so for example, let's say if you look at this is ID. Over here it says it is Indonesia, but what if we don't know which country is it, like we did over here? If you see, it says BR. So basically, country codes are 2-letter codes. Country codes are 2-letter codes. Now what happens is, like, city codes are 3-letter, country codes are 2-letter. Now what happens here is let's say, we have a code or we have a country name and we want to encode or decode it. So unlike the city part, when you have cities, what happens is that for encoding there is a different number, for decoding there is a different for encoding there is a different command, for decoding there is a different command. Now over here in country, you have the same command, which is DC. If you enter DC, what happens is that if you, let's say you have a name of a country, let's say Australia, so you put Australia. Now when you enter Australia, it is fine that it will give you the country code, which is a 2-letter code. Along with that, you will get more information also. For example, you will get the currency which is used over there, and if you another thing that you get is the code of the citizens of Australia, like you have that on your passport. For example, somebody who is living in India will have IND as the citizenship code. The same way, every country has a 3-letter citizenship code that is also being that can also be pulled out from this command. So if you press enter, you will see AU is the code, is the country code for Australia, and then you have AUD, which is Australian dollars, which is used in Australia as a currency, and then you see AUS, it is Australian citizen. It is in TC area 3. So what is this exactly will be covered in future videos. So there are, ITA is something which takes care of the entire travel world and the airlines. So it has divided the world into 3 parts. One is TC area 1, TC area 2, TC area 3. So we will cover that in one of the video. Right now it is TC. It says it is in TC area 3, and you have the code over here. Let's say if we have a code with us. For example, let's say we have a country code with JP. We want to check whether JP is a country code or not. So we do DC, which is to encode or decode. We use the same command, and it says it is Japan. It is Japan, and again it is in TC area 3. JPY is the currency which is used over here, which is Japanese yen, and then you have JPN, which is Japanese citizens. So this is the code which will be there in their passport. So why it is used is that there will be a command that we will be entering, especially for US sector. If somebody is traveling to US or outside US, so what happens is that they always look for that passport details, and while we enter that command, we need to enter this code also. So this is how you encode or decode a country. Now what happens if you want to know about the code of an airlines? So for that, what we do is that we enter this command, which is DNA, right? So basically it is like don't know airlines. Although the spelling is not exactly the way we say it, but don't know airlines, this is how you can remember it. So DNA, and what you do here is that you can enter the code. You can enter the either the just like DC, you can either enter the code or you can enter the airline's name. Both way it is going to work. Also, just to inform you one important thing, that we have a a Travelocademy channel on Telegram, and there is a link in description. If you join it, you can play quiz daily with us. There are a lot of questions on geography. There are a lot of questions on ITA-TC areas, and different ITA questions. So what we do is that we cover that. Also, we all the documents, all the things that we are discussing right now over here, we share the documents over there so that you can study. That includes the documents from ITA, the book, which is from from the foundation course, or from consultant course, or from the ticketing, airfare and ticketing course. So if you want to read those things, read those notes, you can always refer to this channel, which is in the description. Otherwise, you can join it and play quiz daily. So this is about Telegram. Now DNA, let's say we have a code, let's say we have VY as one code with us, and we want to know which airline is it. You press enter and you see it is Vueling Airlines. So Vueling Airlines is having a airlines designator of 3030. Now what is 030? All that we have in travel industry are 13-digit numbers, no matter which airlines you're traveling with, except the low-cost carriers, which are also called as ticketless carriers. So if you have a doubt in this, because this must be new for you if you're new in travel industry, so what happens is that there are two types of airlines. One is LCC, which are low-cost airlines or no-frill airlines, and one is this thing, GDS Carriers, or rather you can say one is a scheduled carriers. So what happens is these airlines are low cost. It goes by the name, where there is no ticket, so they don't sell ticket. Now they are changing their structure a bit, but initially there were no tickets. So this is called ticketless carrier. Except these airlines, if you look at GDS or scheduled carriers, these airlines have 13-digit numbers, ticket numbers. So if you have traveled somewhere, I'm sure you must have received a ticket number. If you have traveled in a GDS carrier, it is like the famous airlines like American Airlines, Air India, Lufthansa, and then you have Qantas, and Emirates, Etihad. All these airlines that you have are GDS carriers. They are they come with a ticket number. So in this ticket number, the first three numbers that you have are always airlines designator, and the rest 10 numbers are different. They are unique numbers, so they're different for different passengers, but the first three are always same. So for example, for VY, for Vueling Airlines, 030 will remain the same in all the cases. In all the tickets that they're going to give to the customer, 030 will remain exactly same. So this is called airlines designator. Now for example, let's say we have an airline's name. Let's say we have Qantas. So Qantas is an airline from Australia. You press enter, you see there's a code QF. Airline code is also 2-letter code. So it is Qantas Airlines, Qantas Airways, and then you have 081 as their designator. 081 as their airlines designator. And that is basically all that we have in DNA. Also, there is one more command that I can recall, that is DNE. Now, there are two companies in this world. Basically, there are many more companies. There are many companies which manufacture airplanes, and they sell it to airlines. It is just like Uber that we have. In Uber, this company do not manufacture a car. They buy a car and then they put it out in the market, and then there are drivers who drive, and they provide service to people. The same way, airlines do not manufacture a car, manufacture a plane. They buy it from some company. Now majorly there are two companies that they buy it from. One is Airbus, and other one is Boeing. Airbus is I think it is from Europe. Their headquarters I think it is in France, and Boeing is from US. Also, Boeing is the largest building of the world where all these planes are parked. So not the tallest, the largest. So if you see, Boeing and Airbus are two types of aircrafts, two companies from where these airlines buy aircrafts. There is another company, I think, in Canada. There is one company in Brazil, but their planes are comparatively smaller in size, and I don't think so whether they are this safe or not. Propeller is one company, I guess. So this is what, but these are the two companies that we will be coming across a lot in the scenarios. And people sometimes, the passengers that we have, they're going to ask you which aircraft is it. So if the aircraft starts with 3, it is going to be Airbus. Rather, if it starts with 0, 1 or 2 or 3, but generally I have seen like over 80% of the times I've seen it starts with 3. If it starts, the equipment number starts with 3, it is going to be Airbus. And if it is going to start with 7, it is Boeing. So that's the difference that we have between Airbus and Boeing. Now, let's say, for example, you have a flight where it says the aircraft is 380. So this is, let's see, which company does it belong to. You do DNE 380 and you press enter. It says it is Airbus, right? It's a capacity of 480 to 656 passenger, which means that like basically Airbus A380 is a double-decker plane where you can have a lot of people sitting in the plane. Also, if something like 787 comes, so you do DNE 787, and it tells you that it is it doesn't say anything as of now. Let's say DNE 747. Yeah, it says Boeing 747. All 244 to 569 is the capacity. That depends from that. This is basically 747. Now we will, what we have covered till now is DAC, DAN, which is decoding and encoding the city. Then we learned about DNA, how to encode or decode airlines. DC is used for country, and finally DNE is used for equipment. I hope this will help you in some way. This is just the basic session of Amadeus. We will have more sessions coming up in future. If you like this video and you want this channel to grow so that we reach more people and help them in some way, please subscribe the channel and click the bell icon. And thank you so much for watching this one. My name is Gaurav Khera. I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.